Hi, this is Philip Byrne for PhoneScoop.com, and today I'm looking at the Kin 2, which is a new Microsoft phone available on Verizon Wireless. Now, I had a lot to say about the Kin 2, and frankly, most of it wasn't very good. I can forgive the lack of features. The phone doesn't have instant messaging, there's no calendar on board, it has GPS for geotagging photos, but you can't get turn-by-turn directions, and even local search can be somewhat difficult sometimes. But really, my biggest problem with the phone isn't the lack of features, it's that the phone is just kind of ugly, and it doesn't work very well. On the outside, it takes sort of this minimalist design aesthetic, so it's a mostly black phone without too many buttons, but it just feels cheap. It feels cheap in the hand, the plastic is very creaky, the screen is sort of wobbly, and it just doesn't feel like a well-built phone. It's certainly not up to smartphone quality. It feels much more like a less expensive feature phone. There are a few key features to the Kin's interface design. First of all, you have the Kin Loop here, where you get your MySpace, Facebook, and Twitter feeds. Here you have the favorites, where you can put all your favorite contacts. You can add as many as you like to this favorites page. And over on the left, you get the apps menu, where you get the limited selection of apps available. There's no app store on this phone, so what you see is what you get unless Microsoft decides to add more later. Now, the whole thing sort of looks like a magazine, but frankly, it just looks like a mess. I like using the pictures. I really like using my friends' avatars extensively in this phone, but the way the text just jumbles up and covers people, the way sometimes you can't even see what someone looks like, you can't even tell where their picture is going, it just looks very messy. It just looks very unpolished, and it's not very pleasant looking. And the deeper you dive on this phone, the more unpleasant it gets. Once you get into the menus, like the settings menu, what you get is a very sort of basic, chunky looking menu. The fonts aren't very pretty. The buttons don't look very good. I understand that Microsoft was going for a minimalist appeal, but the design just doesn't work. The colors just aren't rich enough for the minimalist design, and the graphics just aren't very good. The text doesn't work out. I really just didn't like the design of this phone. Now, there's also the Kin Spot down here at the bottom, so you can share updates from Twitter or Facebook, and when you have something you want to share, you just drag your contacts down into the spot, tap on that spot icon, and here you go. You can choose to upload, or you can choose to send this stuff directly on. And the spot seems pretty useful if you're taking a lot of pictures, if you really like sharing all the time. I can see how that would be useful. I didn't really use it too much, but it's definitely an interesting feature, and it's something I would keep. So like I said, besides just being kind of ugly, the Kin 2 just didn't work very well. Here's the phone application. As you can see, you get big numbers and then this tiny little call button down here at the bottom that was kind of difficult to press, and again you see very small buttons, sort of ugly text, colored text on a black background. It just doesn't look very good. It's not very easy to use, and the phone quality was very poor. Battery life wasn't very good, sound quality wasn't very good, nothing about the phone was very good. So the phone is really all about social networking, but even these features came up short, and that was the most disappointing thing of all. If you like to read status updates, the phone does a good job of giving you your status updates, or at least most of your status updates. If you don't want to read all of them, it just gives you the last few hours worth, and if you want more, you have to go through the web browser. There just aren't enough social networking features on this phone. For instance, if you want to post a tweet, you have to go through the web browser. There's no way to do that on the phone itself. If you want to look at someone's photo albums in Facebook, you have to go through the web browser. There's no way to do that on the phone. There's just so many features missing that you can find on any other good feature phone or smartphone out there that it makes me wonder why someone would choose the Kin over one of those phones. The interface design certainly isn't going to sell it, and without all those advanced features, it really isn't a very good social networking phone either. Even worse, some of the features that should have been an obvious win on this phone just didn't work very well. The web browser is very slow and sluggish. The phone could never connect to my Wi-Fi network, so I had to use Verizon Wireless's network, and the phone didn't get very good reception. So loading web pages was a real chore. There's an 8 megapixel camera around the back of the phone, but the pictures just weren't very good. Under the best lighting conditions, I did manage to get some good photos, but most of the time, photos lacked detail. They sort of had a gray cast. Red colors were just completely blown out. The phone shoots 720p HD videos, but don't think this is going to look like a high-definition television show or something you'd get from a real dedicated camera. Now, I understand that I might not be part of the target audience for this phone, and frankly, I can forgive some of the lack of features, and I understand that the style just might not appeal to someone in my age group, but a bad phone is a bad phone. And if you can't just get some of the basics right, you're not going to be able to win on style alone, especially if it's a style like this. For PhoneScoop.com, with the Microsoft Kin 2, this is Philip Byrne.